Hello, and in this video we're going to discuss invoices. So how you get to the invoice section is over to the menu under invoices. It'll take you to the invoice tab here. Um, Again, you can sort all your invoices with the different columns by clicking on them. So you can sort by title, by work order type, if it's a work order invoice, a CRM record, project, um, the record that it is, date, unpaid or paid, also by invoice total if you'd like to, and also invoice number. You can also filter by all, what are open, and what we consider open invoices are unpaid invoices. And then closed invoices are paid invoices, and then invoices that you decide to archive. There's a few different ways you can create an invoice. One, you can just create a new invoice, but right from here by hitting the plus symbol, and that will start a new invoice for you. You can decide if it's from a work order or what type it is. If it's work order, if it's a project invoice, or a CRM, just a customer. So you can decide that. If it's a work order, you can select the work order you want it to be associated with. So you can kind of search through your system here. And if it was the Allen Savant system, you can do that. Or when you're in a work order, so if we go over to work orders and say you're in a work order, as we discussed in the work order video, you have an invoice section here. So if you want to create an invoice just for this work order, it's pretty simple. You can just click the plus symbol right here, and that will open up the new invoice. In the invoice page, you can see your company logo and information. It brings in all the information from that work order right here. And you can see the invoice number again, and the date. If you need to edit any of this stuff, you just simply click on it and you can edit anything that's blue and clickable. So any edits you want to do. Just like a work order, there's a few different ways you can add items and things to an invoice. So because this was a work order invoice, we have a little time clock up here in the right hand corner that allows you to bring in time from that specific work order. So if you click on that, it'll pull up any times that haven't been billed yet for that work order. And you can also click on the previously invoiced. You can see the times that have been billed against this work order. So if I wanted to bring these times over, I can simply click on it and then save. And it now brings it over into the invoice. It did the quantity. It brought in the description. It brought in our rate for that phase that it's associated with, and then did the math for us, labored, under for tax under labor, non-taxable, and so forth. So that's one way to bring in labor. There's other ways you can add other things you can add items to the invoice just by clicking on this plus symbol. You can manually type in an item. So if you select item, you can just manually type something in. If you want to bring something in from the work order, you can hit this plus symbol, and it'll show you all the lines from the work order that you can select that. It does not bring in the quantity or the pricing, because we don't have any pricing associated with work orders, because most people don't necessarily want the guys to know the cost of things and so forth. So we kept pricing off, but you can grab something and put in the price manually, or if you're just manually entering something, you can put in a description here, select if it's taxable or not, and you can put in the price. You can also bring in a labor item. So if you want to bring in a labor item, you select labor. You can then choose from all the phases you've created, all the labor phases. And when you choose that, it will bring in your labor rate. And you can put in a description, final, what you did, and you can simply hit add. and now that's been added to the invoice down here. You can also bring in items from the product database, the local product database. So again, if you select that, it'll bring up to choose the product. Again, you can start typing in the product itself. If you want this Pro 3, for instance, we do pull up a line card, again, just so the guys can verify this is the right product and everything for it. Brings in the short description of what it is. And you can actually keep this checked if you want to add product labor that's associated with this product. You can keep it checked. If you don't want to do that, you can uncheck it and it won't bring in that labor associated with it. So you have a choice there, and you can simply hit add, and it brings the item over. And then lastly, you can bring items in from Portal. You can search Portal's database just like in the proposals and so forth. Whatever it is, you can just start typing. It'll pull everything related to that, what you typed, and then you can just grab what it is that you want to bring over, and it'll bring the pricing and everything, and you just simply hit add, and oops, you got to put in the quantity. Don't forget that, and simply hit add, and it'll add it to the invoice down here. Once you're done creating the invoice, you'll want to go and make sure that you select your tax rate. And you have a choice. You can do tax against labor or just product, whichever you'd like. When you click on it, it'll bring the drop down of all the different tax rates you've created. You select it and save it. It'll automatically calculate the sales tax for you. If this is complete, the guys can get a signature then from the client, and you can hit save signature. Now, once you hit save signature, it will lock out the invoice to not be editable anymore because it's a legal document now. This is what the client has agreed to pay and so forth. If the guys did, or if somebody forgot to add something and does need to be edited, we do give you an unlock feature right here up in the right hand corner that you can click on that. And it'll give you a warning that if you do unlock it, it is going to erase the signature. So you do have to get a new signature. That's ethical. I mean, because you made changes to the invoice and so forth. So you can hit unlock and it'll erase the signature and so forth. But if everything's good, you got the signature and everything, and now you can email this to the customer. You can add multiple emails just by separating them with the comma, and so you can email as many people as you'd like. You can export it to QuickBooks Online, and you can also print it. And that is how you create an invoice.